Good day everyone, and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and information on Path of Exile. And this has been one hell of a week for GGG, and especially Chris, and even the developers, I guess, like testers and the designers have been roasted whole week long on Reddit and the forums, and it's still not stopping. And this is all being generated after the first weekend of gameplay where people were playing like T16, dropping jack shit, Empyrean's group, like 6-man group, fully juicing things, not dropping anything. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and the first offender for most players, or at least most of the complainers, is just Arch Nemesis in general, and the fact that when you get a rare monsters with random mobs, they scale way too hard sometimes breaking your build, like you cannot even do damage to them, and they take like ages, or you just get wrecked in a second and don't even understand what's happening. So if your build cannot handle Arch Nemesis, well, sucks to be you, because this is everywhere in the game. It's just yellow monsters and they are part of every single encounter in the game. So if you can't handle them, you can't play the game, which kind of kills build diversity. If you are using a Scar or a weak build, well, you're just fucked, I guess. Harvest also has been reduced to I don't know what. The thing is, Life Force were dropping way too sparingly, and sometimes even not dropping, and Chris even said that was due to an effort and tried to reduce players clicking. So yeah, that spurred a lot of memes, of course, needless to say. Lake of Calandra wasn't really dropping anything at all, like really, except the mirror that creates or flips one of the items. Well, everything else was pretty trash. And the biggest thing that happened, well, GGG said this phrase here, which is a reason for the general item drops being so low is that they remove a massive historic bonus to item quantity and or rarity that applied to some league specific monsters. Now Chris kind of spoke about this a little bit more after this, and he said that, well, while massive is not the correct term here, but obviously the community piled onto this and really memed it, and well, between a meme and an outrage, I guess. And yeah, what happened was the fact that GG tried to balance rewards, scale on difficulty. The problem was that there were these historic bonuses, and they were kind of arbitrary because every league had to be important rather than just playing the main game. So what they did was add some bonus to rarity and quantity to monsters of that league, and so that people would actually play it because they dropped things. And yeah, so they removed this, which, I mean, it's not wrong in itself. The problem is that this was not said in the patch notes whatsoever. This was not spoken about in the reveal. This was not mentioned anywhere, except a phrase that apparently someone said, I don't remember who, maybe Chris, who said, get your magic find characters ready. And of course people is memeing that as well, because, I mean, why not? And yeah, basically saying that you would have to magic find things now because things are not dropping anymore. The problem is that the community was just like, fuck this game, I'm out. Some of those, and others were just on the Reddit complaining, and this is one of the leagues which has apparently is actually the league with the worst retention ever, after 1 week dropping at least 50% of the community. And well, at least the community that was on Steam, I think someone posted the charts on that, and yeah, that's definitely not good. Also, there's been other problems, like the divine changes kinda killed the economy in standard. To top this off, GG closing off with the Calandra mystery box below this news, which, I mean, yeah, people just went apeshit on this. And well, GG tried to save a little bit of this by doing some changes, like some Arch Nemesis changes, reducing the life of some Arch Nemesis, and especially when added to red beasts and to essences, because of course these are yellow monsters at the end of the day. So what happens is they get at least a couple of Arch Nemesis modifier, and they become like retarded monsters. I mean, they say that you can assess the monster and put in counterplay, but the only counterplays are just healing faster or Alt F4. And yeah, because this is just a game which is a gear check start to finish, so either your gear is good enough and you can kill it, or your gear isn't and you have to flee. So they tried to do some changes, like improving a little bit of the Calandra, maybe increasing the life force yield in lower map tiers for harvest. So they actually tried to improve item drops, and I feel like after the latest improvements, the game is kind of fine. There are still big problems, and we'll see those later. So the improvements were increased in the rarity bonus, and only rarity, so not quantity, dropped by monsters with multiple Arch Nemesis mods. So if you get 4 Arch Nemesis mods, you can get a shower of loot. They also increased the rarity of items dropped by mob bosses, which I mean is definitely really good. Also improving globally the drop rates of uniques item, which again, boosted by these on the map bosses, is definitely really good. I've definitely been finding some uniques now, which is actually fine and actually nice. And they globally increased the base drop rate of currency by 25%. This again is pretty damn good. Of course, scaling in the latest tiers of maps and juicing and everything. So these are definitely a step in the right direction, let's say. Also, reducing the cost of many harvest crafts. The problem with harvest is that they removed some of the lower tier crafts that were actually used and kept some of the weaker versions of those that had chew. Also trying to improve some of the rewards from the Lake of Calandra, which still don't know if it's worth it or not. I mean, I've been doing it because it's league content. It's definitely improved lately, but I mean, it's not that great. Again, the main problem here are Arch Nemesis modifiers. Again, you can get a yellow monster, you never know if it's gonna destroy you in 1 second or it's just a pushover. I mean, a slower monster with some random Arch Nemesis mod is no problem, but a really quick one, maybe with haste, maybe bloodletter and some defensive one, it just jumps on you and kills you, whatever. And yeah, there's no counterplay again because it's all stat checks, so you're either prepared or you die. And if you're prepared and you can handle it, maybe it takes 5 minutes because it has 3 defensive modifiers. So GGG tried to nerf some defensive modifier here, definitely really helping, and it's absolutely a step in the right direction. Reducing some of the defensive, like the elemental one no longer having +10 to maximum resistance, is a huge bonus to damage on those. So definitely again a step in the right direction. There's still a couple problems, like the ones that spawns these lightning mirages on you. I mean, why do they spawn them on you instead of on the monster is beyond reason. Probably because if it's spawned on the monster, melee wouldn't be able to play. But then again, melee isn't able to play anyway. No one even plays melee, which is not actually a ranged melee. And, well, I mean, in the middle of this total crisis for GGG, they just posted the tickets for ExileCon 2023, and this shows that the community is not just made of people complaining on Reddit. There's still players who actually believe in GGG and still want to go to the convention and everything. So at the end of the day, all tickets were sold out, and there's going to be a sequent batch of tickets sale later on when GGG probably assesses how many people they can actually get in the venues and how much they can actually pay and prepare for. So that was a good part, but I mean, the community definitely against that. I mean, the timing is just not the best, though GG is not stopping on the tracks because they have plans as usual, and they came at us with what happens with items. The thing is, they have 3 philosophy, and they try to abide to all of these. First one is that rewards should scale properly with item quantity and rarity. So this looks really good on paper. The problem is the implementation, because what happens with multiple Arch Nemesis mods on a monster is that if you kill that monster, your rarity will convert the items to yellow and rare items, and then your quantity will multiply that exponentially. And some of these mods actually convert these items to currency. So what happens is you drop a lot of items, they get converted to rares and uniques, and the rarer they are, when they translate into currency, you can get like 50 stacks of divine orbs. And this is a one-of-a-time loot piñata that you might encounter or might not encounter. There's no sense of progression there, and well, if you're lucky, you get it. If you're not lucky, you don't. And there is another big problem. If you kill one of these monsters and you don't have any bonuses to rarity or quantity, you're just wasting, you're getting 20 whetstones and that's it. So people have to go on TFT and call for a dedicated color when you find these monsters. So this is completely retarded and people are all against it, and I'm all against it, because removing all of the drops and putting in like this is like the worst thing that has happened to drops in a very long time, honestly. Not that it matters for the average players like me who plays a bit, and then when challenges become way too time consuming, just drops out. The second philosophy is that players should fight fewer rare monsters at once, but they should be more challenging and rewarding. And when I read this, first thing I thought of was, why not just improving map bosses? I mean, that's exactly the thing, right? They are 1 per map, maybe 2 if you choose their map, and they are challenging and should be more rewarding. Still, also, the philosophy is that there shouldn't be a gap between the difficulty reward of league content and base game content, and this is, I mean, this is a given, but the league content has always been way stronger and harder than the normal game. So apparently, for GGG, this should be about twice about as hard and as rewarding. Trying to do all these things, what happened is that through GGG fashion, at the end, Chris just comes out and says it's his own fault, he takes all the responsibility for this, actually saying he didn't understand the impact of these changes, and we're talking about the changes on the rarity and quantity on the league, and this is just part of it, honestly. Part of it was the answers that he gave, part of it are the arch nemesis, which are still running rampant and honestly really obnoxious, and yeah, of course the overall negative feeling that everyone has kind of rubs off a lot of players as well, like something that maybe sometimes they just get influenced by this, and yeah, it's just a spiral of negativity that's going downwards, and it's been going downwards for the last week, way down, and I don't know, this is going to take some time. Some people definitely had their trust in GGG destroyed. This is what went wrong, and you can definitely read all of these for a little bit more detailed explanation. This video is already being way too long. So at the end, the direction, where is GGG going? Apparently, for players who are juicing the content, like 6-person parties, dedicated colors, and all the thing, they no longer have Beyond, which was way too strong. But apparently they can still find multiple mirrors per day, or over 50 divine orbs from a single monsters, and this is exactly the problem that we discussed before, and people have been roasting GGG for this thing here, because, well, normal players will have a really bad time if GGG continues to change and make changes to the content based on 6 people parties with dedicated MF colors. Like, that's not what most players do, and if you like balance the game around these, normal players will find nothing and, well, obviously not have fun. And last thing, which is the only out of drama news, I guess, is GGG explaining how they fight the tool-assisted Pantheon mod farming. So now that players know which monsters they have to kill to get the drops, well, there are programs, but GG is just banning players and making sure they cannot use them effectively. So, I mean, that's actually good, though kind of overshadowed by everything else that's happened this week. I guess it was all for this week, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all, I've been your host Giorgio, and I'll see you guys the next time.